Video number 4 in connecting faith to business, life and church. The title is Starting Well and Finishing Badly. And so often in many tasks we undertake in business and in church, in life, projects, sport, we start well and finish badly because of opposition, because we don't achieve the level we thought we could go to. And one of the guys who really had the great opportunity was King Solomon. And we learn about him. He was the son that replaced King David. So he had a good heritage to build on. And his brother was trying to take it from him, but the king anointed Solomon as king. So that's where it started well. And he was in the role. And the race is long, and we've got to make sure we endure during that time. So God asked Solomon, when David had died, God asked Solomon, what do you want? And Solomon could have asked for wealth, more, palaces, thousands of people. He didn't. He said, I want wisdom. Well, that's a great place to start. And God said, I'll give you that, but because you didn't ask for all these other things, you can have them as well. And when you read the story in 1 Kings, you'll see that he started well, and because he asked for wisdom, he became successful, prosperous, and became a light to the nation. Other kings and queens would come to visit him and just could not believe the blessing God had put on him and the nation. And you see, that was God's plan anyway from the beginning for this nation, not just Solomon, but prior to him, this nation to be a light to the nations. And if we're called as God's people, we are to be a light to the nations. And God's plan was to choose this nation to be that. But unfortunately, on the journey, after a number of years, Solomon didn't end well. And, he did things that he was warned against, the nation was warned against. Do not take wives from the foreign and the opposite countries. But Solomon did. He had the lesson not to do it. He disobeyed God in marrying the wrong women. He got distracted. They took his mind away, got him worshipping other gods. And he began trusting in his own wisdom and his wealth and the recognition from other people and prosperity. And this led him to move away from God and he failed to focus on God. And he even got to the stage of saying, in Ecclesiastes, he said, which we'll get to, but he said, what is life? It seems to be, we come and go, our table's full of food, but what is life? But in the end, right at the end of that book, he says, but above all, honour and believe in God. So he came back at least to a point of recognising that without all that, you can have everything else. Without God, it's going to be useless, it's going to be empty. And that's what the nation did. Up and down all the time, they forgot God and became disillusioned and unhappy. But when they came back to him, he took them forward, they grew, they became prosperous, and they recognised him. But because he didn't fully come all the way back, the kingdom was eventually divided, was ripped away from him, and one nation became a divided nation of two. And we're going to hear about some of the stories that come out of that. And we've seen businesses ripped apart, we've seen churches ripped apart, we've seen families ripped apart because someone thought they were the most important person. They trusted in their own energy, their own strength, their own wisdom, and they listened to the wrong people. So after him, his son, Solomon's son, as we just learned in the previous video, was a disaster because Solomon was not able to pass on the good things that he'd learnt, the wisdom and honouring God, to his sons. And his son just took the nation, virtually destroyed it. You don't want your business destroyed, you don't want your church destroyed, you don't want your family destroyed because we're not building the next generation, but also we're not listening. And we're not staying firm and resilient and consistent and on the journey. The journey is long, at least for our lives, so we need to start well and finish well. What are you putting into place that's going to help you continue the journey with the right input, the right direction, staying the journey?